Temple football was unable to get the offense going and lost against Rutgers for the third straight year.
The volleyball team's home court looked a little different, and so did the stands, with over 2,400 fans.
And I'm Jackson Batchelor. Despite a tough loss to Rutgers on Saturday, the Temple football team might have found their #1 wide receiver. OwlSports Update is live, and it starts right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to OwlSports Update. It's a new semester, which means a new duo on the desk.
She's Natalie Caranda, I'm Paddy Heckard, and we've got a lot to talk about today, from women's volleyball to field hockey. But first, we'll start off with some Temple football. Temple took a trip up the New Jersey Turnpike on Saturday. The 90-minute ride was easy, the game, not so much. Both Temple and Rutgers came into the game at 1-0, but it was easy to see some of the differences between these two teams. Rowdy home crowd greeted Temple before kickoff, and it stayed that way for most of the game. Here in the first quarter, Rutgers QB Gavin Wimsack keeps it and gets 17 yards down the middle for a first. Next play, Ja'Shawn Benjamin gets the screen pass and takes it down the line for 33 yards and a touchdown. Rutgers takes the first lead of the game, 7-0. Temple unable to get anything going after a 3-and-out, but Rutgers can, putting up a field goal to extend its lead to 10 at the start of the second quarter. In the fourth, E.J. Warner gets Temple its first score, finding Dante Wright in the end zone. The Owls cut the lead to 6. But that's as close as it gets. Rutgers is stuck at the 1-yard line. Kyle Monungai pushes through to put Rutgers up by 12. On the next play, Temple tries pushing down the field fast, but Warner's pass gets deflected and picked off by Shaquan Loyal. He brings it back all the way to Temple's 30. First play of the drive again for Temple, and another interception by Warner. With 3 minutes left, running back Al-Shadi Salam brings the ball in from the 5 and makes it 23 unanswered points by Rutgers in the fourth. Temple leaves SHI Stadium with a loss. Final score, 36-7.
It's tough. We were very intentional in our preparation leading up to that game. I thought our players had a really good week of practice. I thought that they were ready. I do also believe that, Temple beat Temple in a lot of respects. I don't think that we as a football team, when adversity hit, handled our emotions very well. I'm coaching a bunch of guys who want to win. And what our football team needs to learn is that if they want to win so bad, they need to hate losing a little bit more. I'm excited to see what this team, how they're going to respond off of this loss.
A good week of practice did not translate to a good weekend of gameplay. Inside the Nest reporter Hayden Bandel was there in Piscataway on Saturday for the Week 2 game and is at the studio set with more about where the Owls went wrong. Hey, Hayden.
Thanks, Natalie. For the second straight week, the Owls came out to a sluggish start. Temple trailed Akron at halftime by double digits in Week 1. The Owls did come up stronger in the second half, especially on the defensive end, to win the game. But in last week's game against Rutgers, it was another lethargic beginning on the offensive side. The Owls punted on 6 of their first 7 drives, with one of them concluding with a turnover on downs. When the Owls found the back of the end zone less than 10 seconds into the fourth quarter, which did make it a one-possession game, the defense ran out of gas, seeing the Scarlet Knights offense put up 23 fourth-quarter points. The Cherry and White need to play a full 60 minutes. Week 1, they played 2 good quarters of football. Week 2, they played 3 good quarters. So says Coach Drayton. If you do the math, they are on the right track to playing a full game at the level they want, maybe this weekend against Norfolk State. Coming into future games, running back Joquez Smith, who had a stellar debut, should see more touches. This will take a weight off the shoulders of E.J. Warner. He did not look great on Saturday, only connecting on 20 of his 48 pass attempts. Paddy and Natalie, thanks for having me on. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Hayden. Let's take a look at one of the Owls who stood out in a losing effort at SHI Stadium. OwlSports Update's Jackson Batchelor is at Edberg Olson Hall, where one new wide receiver is making an early impact. Hey, Jackson.
Thanks, guys. The Temple football team has some familiar faces on offense, such as quarterback E.J. Warner, running back Edward Sadie, and tight end David Martin Robinson. However, there's a new receiver on North Broad who soon will be one of those familiar names. Fresh into the 2023 football season, the Owls have shown some issues with their youth, but they've also shown potential. Much of that potential was on display in the season-opening win over Akron. Multiple touchdowns from E.J. Warner and a key interception by Tywan Francis sealed the win. And there is another rising star who showed up in impactful numbers, wide receiver Dante Wright.
Just staying level-headed. Akron was a pretty big opponent. We got to start off fast. We always want to win the first game. I think it's huge for us in our season to have a win in the columns.
Wright, a junior, spent his first 3 years with Colorado State before deciding to transfer to the Cherry and White. And he picked up 7 receptions and 71 yards in his debut at Lincoln Financial Field.
Well, for me, I think it's just getting used to the atmosphere. I think it's a little different coming from Colorado to Philly. But after you get past that, football's football, and just getting around the guys, I think it's been a really big help for me.
Head coach Stan Drayton had some strong feelings about Wright's play style after his first 2 games with the team, including the importance and high responsibility he has on the team.
He's absolutely a guy that we trust, and we need him to play at a high level all the time.
Despite Temple's loss on Saturday to Rutgers, Wright put up an impressive 59 yards as well as his first touchdown for the Owls. Reporting from Edberg Olson Hall, I'm Jackson Batchelor, OwlSports Update.
Thanks, Jackson. Wright has 12 catches for 130 yards and a touchdown in his first 2 games as an Owl. He's likely to be one of the top targets this Saturday when the Owls host Norfolk State at 2 p.m.
Opinion time. Look for the Owls to bounce back in a big way from their Rutgers loss last Saturday. Norfolk State is 1-1 on the season, and its one loss comes from Division II school Virginia State. For my first prediction of the season, I've got Temple winning 38-17 to remain undefeated at home. Time for our first break. Coming up, volleyball does something it's never done before in program history against nationally ranked Penn State.
Plus, what thoughts does Coach Head Richardson have following the first week of fall workouts for the women's basketball team? Stay tuned.
Welcome back. Temple volleyball is off to a hot start to the season, winning 6 of its first 7 matches heading into last Friday. To celebrate, the Owls did something they've never done before, play a match at the Leah Corr Center, and they did it against the 12th-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. Temple volleyball had a new home court, at least for one night. This past weekend, the Owls got the opportunity to play their first match ever in the Leah Corr Center, and fans showed up. 2,468 fans in attendance, the second largest in program history.
Everyone on campus really knew about this game and tried to come, and our staff worked so hard to make sure it was a great experience, and we're super grateful for that.
This included athletes from other teams, the band, an interview session, along with a broadcast team from ESPN+, all in face-off against nationally ranked Penn State. Penn State has always been a tough opponent for Temple volleyball. The Owls have an all-time record of 4-16 against the Nittany Lions and haven't seen their last win since 2002. Penn State got off to a hot start, winning the first 2 sets, but Temple did turn it around in the 3rd set. The Owls went on a 7-point streak to take the lead and kept it close until the end. Temple couldn't hold off Penn State in overtime, losing the game 27-25 and the match 3 sets to nothing.
The thing about playing teams like Penn State is, they're high-level volleyball, and high-level volleyball, we get in there, it's going to show where we need to work on some things. So I think it's great we get to play a team like that.
While Temple volleyball didn't get the win Friday night, it did on Wednesday night. And the team's first match back at McGonigal Hall, Temple wins it in the last set, beating Princeton 3-2. Grad student Avery Luoma transferred from Princeton this year and led Temple with 15 kills and 3 blocks in her first match against her old team. Next up on the schedule for Temple is the Villanova Classic, playing 2 matches September 16th and 17th.
Staying on the court but switching sports, it won't be long before we're talking about the season opener for women's basketball. Practices are underway. In Diana Richardson's second season, you will see a striking differently roster with the new approach.
I think we have taken a giant step from where we were last year. And last year we couldn't really play the way I wanted us to play, which was fast and pressure. And this year, our new mantra is going to be pace and pressure. So our pace is going to be picked up, our pressure is going to be picked up because we've got players in all of those positions that we're able to do that. So I think our staff has done a great job this summer and spring and bringing in new people.
Are you still going to?
The women's season is less than 2 months away. Temple open up at home against Delaware State on November 6th. The team will play 2 more games at home that week, facing Georgetown on the 9th and Bucknell on the 11th. The Owls will head to Oxford, Mississippi for their first road game of the year against Ole Miss. Then we'll close out the month in Philly or near Philly, playing at Villanova and at home versus SJU.
The women's soccer team played LaSalle on Sunday afternoon in search of its second win. Straight to second half, Nicole Sweeney kicks it to Samaya Togba, and she finds the net from the left corner of the box, securing her 3rd career goal. 5 minutes later, LaSalle sophomore Justice Hollenbach beats 3 defenders in the box and earns her first goal as an explorer and ties up the game. Sherry Atkins feeds Becky Myers the ball, and she boots it 18 yards into the top right corner of the goal. Temple takes the lead with only 13 minutes left in the game, and LaSalle is feeling the heat. Emily Banachevsky kicks up a prayer, and Hollenbach answers by snatching that rebound and kicks it in, tying up the game in the last 4 minutes, making the final score 2-2.
Time for another break. When we get back, we have Temple field hockey scores as well as a look at a key player for the Owls this year.
OwlSports Update is back in 90 seconds.
Welcome back to OwlSports Update. Temple field hockey went on the road last weekend and came back with a 2-1 win over James Madison. The Owls went down early, but 2 goals in the 3rd and 4th quarters were enough to secure the win. Midfielders Kate Miller and Lena Nielsen both on the score sheet for the Owls with 1 goal each. Next game for the team is at home against UConn this Friday. This game opens up Big East play.
As the new season moves towards conference play, Temple's field hockey team expects a lot from its returning players. Junior Tess Muller is vital to this team's success as it starts its fight for a spot in the Big East tournament. OwlSports Update's Selena Turner has the story.
The 2023 Temple field hockey team returns a lot of talent from last season's playoff team, and at the center of it all is Tess Muller. The Netherlands native was second on the team in goals and assists, and she earned first-team all-conference honors. This season, it's much the same. She leads the team in points with 6, and both of her goals are game winners.
These awards are great. It's just a big team effort, I would say. Like, I can't do what I do without all the girls next to me, and they cheer me on, and, I can't do it without them.
And with her production comes hardware. Player of the Week, not to mention a first-team all-conference preseason pick.
Tess is phenomenal. She's a great hockey player. Technically, she's very quick, and she has great hand-eye coordination, is able to eliminate and break lines and kind of go forward. Her role on the team is to create, be super threatening.
And she's durable. Last year, Muller played in all 19 games as a sophomore, and she's played in all 6 this season as a junior, leading into the conference opener on Friday versus UConn.
I look to her to lead, I look to her to create, I look to her to bring energy, positivity, fun. She's super competitive.
It's the most fun when we win games, obviously, but it is a game that we all love, and we need to make sure we remember that.
From Temple Sports Complex, I'm Selena Turner, OwlSports Update.
That Friday game against UConn kicks off at 1 p.m. at the Temple Sports Complex. The Owls and Huskies were 2 of the 4 teams that made it to playoffs last year.
Our first show is almost over, but we'd like to give you guys a sneak peek at the rest of the semester. 2 weeks from now today, we will be back on the desk with a new segment called Teamwork.
Each show we will feature a team as a whole and go over its dynamic, recent games or matches, key players, and much more, giving you guys the insight on how the team works.
In the meantime, we have a packed weekend of Temple sports, starting with 3 events on Friday. Women's tennis hosts Villanova and Delaware State at the TU Pavilion. We have that field hockey game versus UConn, and volleyball has its first of 2 matches at the Villanova Classic against St. Francis University. On Saturday, men's soccer heads down to Miami to play FIU, while men's golf will head to the suburbs to compete in the Temple Invitational. Football is back at the Link this week with a game against Norfolk State. And to close out the weekend, field hockey faces Lehigh on the road, and women's soccer plays Penn at the Temple Sports Complex.
Can't get enough of OwlSports? Well, you're in luck. We have 3 shows each week, with the Sports Brief on Mondays, Inside the Nest on Tuesdays, and 1 week from today, Danny Podolsky and Michael Merva will take the desk for their anchor debut.
And you can always follow us on social media for all things Temple Athletics at OwlSports Update. That is all the time we have for this week. For our entire crew, she's Natalie Caranda, I'm Paddy Heckard. We'll see you next time.